That radio chick Cheryl Lee here. Welcome to the Still Rocking It podcast, where we'll have music, news reviews and interviews with some of our favourite Australian musicians and artists. The amazing GOAT, greatest of all time, Joe Camilleri, has just joined the fabulous Caprettos. We caught up with him for an interview for The Telly, an episode of the Legend series for Rider TV, eventually finding a spare green room before their gig here in town. I hope you enjoy being a fly on the wall. After absolute chaos in Perth Airport, which threw the entire schedule into disarray. In fact, we finished shooting the episode before we were even scheduled to start. We've never set up so quick. So please enjoy. We had microphone mishaps, interruptions, sound check going on in the background, but Joe, as usual, was the absolute consummate professional, and that's why he is both a GOAT and a legend. To catch up on podcasts from other favourite artists, simply go to thatradiochick.com.au.
That mic's on.
You're not taking any film, man.
I'm rolling. I'm rolling here, we're rolling. Away you go.
What camera am I looking at, please?
This is the double camera. That one's going backward and forward. So,
thank you.
Ready?
You're with Cheryl Lee, That Radio Chic. I'd like to welcome you to Rider TV Legend series. And we have got an amazing legend joining us today. And he's just got off the plane. He's just done sound check, and we've got to talk really fast because we've got a few minutes with him before he appears at the Hindley Street Music Hall today. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. And what a beautiful building it is now.
It is, isn't it?
Great.
They've done a beautiful job with it.
Great job.
Yeah.
You know, someone sold my mother's chandelier.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Isn't it great?
Do you reckon I could fit that in my purse? We really appreciate you squeezing us in today.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
It's wonderful to have you here. Joe, last time I spoke to you in 2021 on the Zoom, and we spoke again in 2023, and I asked you then, have you discovered the fountain of youth? Look at you.
I don't know, I'm too scared to look at me. I think if you've got something you love doing, it's a joy, and I think it keeps you healthy. You know, I have my fair share of gremlins and all the things that everybody goes through. If we didn't judge life by time, I think we'd be younger anyway.
Better off.
I think we would be. And it's a much nicer concept. So it's only when someone sort of says, man, you know, shouldn't you be under the grass?
You clearly have a passion for what you do, and I think it does keep you young. My theory is rock and roll keeps you young.
Yeah.
You're living proof of that. You came to Australia aged two from Malta, one of 10. How was that?
Well, you know, I think I know exactly how it happened. My dad, Malta was sort of war-torn, pretty much like any other place when it's been bombed on a daily basis. We were British subjects, and you could go to a few different places. You could go to Canada, India, you could have gone to Australia, New Zealand, you could have gone to... And he was on his way to England, and he met his Sergeant Major, and he said, I've just got back from Australia. It is paradise. So my dad left in 49, late 49, left Mum with 4 kids to catch the Floriana, I think it was called. Now, Mum came on the Floriana, probably on the £5 scheme. It probably took 2 months to get here, because it would have stopped everywhere, you know. I don't know how she did it, because she had 4 kids under 5. I was 2, Mary Ann was a baby. Frank was 4, Phyllis was 5.
Jeepers, that's hell of a trick.
So that was kind of, I don't know how she did it. You know, I don't know how, you know, it was just insane. And my dad set up in Melbourne, and there we were. We lived in the inner city of Melbourne for all those years. We'd go from Carlton to St Kilda to Port Melbourne. We spent most of our time in Port Melbourne. And then there was so much work that my dad wanted to get ahead, and he would work as a baker at night and a mechanic during the day. And that was kind of...
Wow.
He wasn't the only one. There was just everybody was working hard to break free from the shackles and try to have a place for their family, you know. The only thing that used to annoy me is when we would go rabbit hunting, you know, and we would catch the little bunnies, you know, and he'd kind of think, they're yours to keep. Then you see them
Till we eat them.
Till we eat them, then they're on the plate. You hear that story many, many times from many different people. It was a shock to the system. And we were originally 13 children, one of 10 living. Now the unbreakable chain is now one of 8.
And you've
It's
got
a loving
5
family.
yourself.
I've got 5, My dad, keeps rolling over and saying, you're nothing.
You've got a lot of catching up to do.
I did 13, you only got 5. What's wrong with you?
I've
Get
got
out
5 too.
Yeah, well, isn't it great?
Yeah, it is. It's
a lovely
fantastic.
number. It was a loving family, and it was,
Was it a musical family, Joe?
Well,
is it in your DNA?
Music was in the house, so I think my parents appreciated the joy that brings. My brother played the piano accordion. My father played the tuba, which was a kind of 2 of the ugliest instruments on the planet
They're not
at that
very
time.
sexy.
Now, 2 of my favourite instruments is the tuba and the piano accordion. But then it was really daggy, and of course there was just TV was just about to hit. We didn't have a TV in '56, but we would go. The whole neighbourhood would go. We were living in Port Melbourne. The whole neighbourhood would go to the store where they had
watch it in the window.
and watch it in the. It's correct, It's kind of. It gave a sense of that wonderful community that you would have. As a child, you don't think about the trials and tribulations of what your parents are going through. There was a lot of mouths to feed. Our cousin was living with us as well. Me and Frank were top to tail, for a few years. There was all this kind of bunks and.
We all did in those days.
And it was kind of okay.
With our cousins.
And we loved. We kind of loved. We didn't love it at the time, but it bonded us. There was that thing where you couldn't all eat together on the same table. The table wasn't big enough, so people, you'd have it in shifts. You do all kinds of different things. Travel was kind of. We went to Mildura or something. It felt like it was like, it felt like you were on the
other end of the earth.
Kind of, you couldn't get there. You weren't going to quite make it. It was always a little bit difficult. But I look at those times now with so much joy and glee, and when I see my brothers and sisters, we still have this great love for each other and that foundation that our parents gave us.
That's awesome. Well, we have got to get you back down there, and we've got like 60 years of stuff to talk about.
I'll try not to be so.
I wanted to
chatty.
ask you, what came first, your love of the sax or your love of the guitar?
My first love was really the radio.
Yeah.
Okay, so the radio created everything. You got to see Elvis with that J200, that beautiful Gibson J200, and you just wanted to have something like that. Some of my relatives had guitars and played a bit. I didn't really think too much of anything, really. I was just kind of interested in music. The radio was kind of a tiny bit of salvation for me. These are the days when you could go outside. You weren't allowed in the house till 6 o'clock at night.
Till it got
dark.
So
it wasn't sort of something, if you came back, you're going to get a belting. Yeah. So you got to stay out.
Are you sick?
Till you have that kind of concept. But so that was, it was just the joy of music. And my sisters, Phyllis, she was kind of totally into a whole bunch of different things that kind of related to many different situations that helped my brother and me. And then there was the TV shows. There's a lot of TV shows in the late 50s. Not only, there was a lot of British shows. Some of them were...
like Bandstand and that sort of thing?
Well, that was later. Although, there was 6 o'clock rock.
Yeah.
There was all those sort of shows. But, so you got a lot of Americana, a lot of American pop, a lot of English pop. And so I was kind of interested in that. Never thought about anything. Till the British beat really hit 1963 or something. And then me and my friends said, why don't we can buy the clothes, why don't we buy the instruments too? And how hard is it really?
Yeah. We can do that.
How hard is it to go boom, boom, boom?
Was that the Drollies?
It ended up being the Drollies. The Drollies only played 2 shows. And I've just got to say, we lost Bobby Wright a couple of days ago. God bless him. He was the first act. Bobby and Laurie were the first act we played with. So, and the Rondells, and we got a lesson that night. It was good for us, and you got to kick it over somewhere. You know, your parents would give up their house, not in my case, so the drummer can have the house, so we can make a rattle and hum over a couple of hours, you know, and that was it. And we'd play one song badly,
over and over.
really badly. And then it just kicked on from there. I got asked to sing with another band, and I didn't want to go with them because my brother was in the band, and my friends, you know, my school friends were in the band, but they were so good.
Is that the King Bees?
The King Bees. They were so good compared to us that, you know, I was a Judas and I jumped. And then I started getting my musical education.
Yeah.
And my street education, because I left very early. I left at 12 when I was at school. I didn't go to school after I was 12 and a half. My education came from kind of working, getting a job, pretending that I was 14, all that nonsense that came with it. And then one thing just led to another, and you get this kind of opportunity. That's how it was.
So was it the Adderley Smith Blues Band that they kicked you out of because they said you were too good and sounded like Mick Jagger?
I was too good looking.
That's right.
I was just too good looking. I was flamboyant, you know. I'd wear the clothes of the day, and the clothes of the day were very bright. And if you're in a blues band, you had to wear triple denim.
Yeah.
And
triple denim.
You know, triple denim wasn't my idea of fun, really. It was much better in the 70s than in the 60s, I think, triple denim, with a little leather patch. I think the disgruntled singer, unfortunately, turned up, and then the audience were so pure about the blues. It's a nuisance, really, you know. What's good is good. It doesn't really matter what it is. But, you know, people like to put you in a box, and it's the last thing I want to be sort of involved in. And that's how that happened. And there was more talk than anything else.
Yeah. We've got to touch on a couple of your achievements. 1990, Rock Performer of the Year, the MOs.
Yeah, well, I didn't turn up for that.
Are you too cool, were you?
No, I just said, I ain't going to win anything.
No.
And I go to these functions, right? I used to go, I've got so many arias, you know, little baby arias, right? And they used to give you the little baby ones, and if the silver ones and the gold ones. And I've got about 50 of these things, you know. So I was always the bridesmaid, and I said, I'm not going to that. And sure enough, I went out for dinner with the drummer's girlfriend, you know, because he went. I said to Tanya, let's go and have dinner. Yeah, everyone else is gone. And it turns out, you know, I didn't watch anything on TV. Yeah, and that was kind of weird. But I mean, what is that? What do those things mean anyway? You know, it's just a popularity contest, really, after all.
Check your connection. Give me a bit of information.
You got plenty of time, by the way.
Have I?
No, you haven't really, but
Oh, no. I thought someone was giving us a wind
people are coming at the door. I don't know. They'll be all right.
Yeah,
they'll be fine.
All right.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah, just straighten your top up.
Oh.
Straight, hey.
Oh, a flasher. Whoopsie.
Whoops. 5 kids, I tell you.
Okay. 2007, JoJo's opened the Falcons. You must be proud. You guys were inducted into the ARIA Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was beautiful. It's just the most beautiful thing in a way when everybody gets together again and there's no animosity. There never really was. It's just kind of, sometimes we're doing 300 shows a year. So you're doing this many shows, you know, you get a little bit disgruntled, you get a little bit tired. Instead of saying, why don't we take a year off? But a year in those days was like
forever,
a lifetime.
Yeah.
Because it was a disposable commodity and we would have to push on. And music was just on the rise. Australian music was so buoyant and so, you know, aggressive on so many different levels, and everybody's trying to take everybody's space, and there was enough room for everybody. I wouldn't do it unless Wayne Burt, who was the original member of the band, I wouldn't do it unless he was going to be inducted as well. So he was the extra member. And he couldn't cope. There was a lot of disco music going on at the time and a lot of rock and roll. And he couldn't cope the difference between the two, so he bowed out. To my good fortune, really, because I ended up using Wilbur Wilde joined the band, Tony Fazy joined the band, and it became a different outfit to the one that we started.
Yeah.
They were beautiful times, and we got to go, not that my bar was low, but I got to do all the things that I thought I'd be able to do with the talent that I had, which was almost zero. I get to talk to Ray Charles, I get to talk to Van Morrison, I get to play in Montreux Jazz Festival, I get to play, you know, with Elvis, I get to play with Costello, I get to play with all these different people that were my heroes around that time. They were giving me the inspiration to go forward. And I thought, okay, I've done that now. I can just get a job, do 40 hours a week,
Yeah,
I've got now 2 kids. We had one more hurrah. I kind of had a hit with a song called Taxi Mary.
Yes.
That was a big hit. And so I was able to sort of rekindle, it was just called JoJo Zepp then, and I was able to do all another side of what I like to do. And that lasted for a little while. And then I got back together with Wayne Burt around 83, and we started what is now the Black Sorrows.
I also have to congratulate you for just last year being inducted into the Songwriters, the Australian Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you for that. That was a lovely function to go to, because it was about a whole bunch of different, it was about 50 songwriters and different awards for different things, different achievements, because you've got to pass it on, and people are talking about things that you like to do. You like to solve a puzzle. If you're writing a song, you can write a song about, whether it's in the first party, second party, third party, whatever it is, however you want, the fragments kind of come together. And people want to know how you go about doing those things, and things that I can't answer.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't accept that award once again unless Nick was also...
That's so gracious.
Because, he's more worthy for that award than I am. So that was kind of neat.
You certainly have an immense body of work. I printed this off and it's not even up to date. And when we spoke last, you had just released your 50th album, St. George's Road. There's 2 more since then.
Yes, there's...
You're relentless.
Well, I'm trying to write a good one.
You're going to keep going till you get one.
If I'm in the studio, I'm trying to work through a few different concepts, so there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things that I can do. Sometimes you've got an idea for a song that you can fulfill, but it's in the framework of the time that you're doing something else. You don't actually have to. It could be the last 2 hours of a session. You say, well, why don't we try this? And then you put that away. Well, you like to think that. Yeah. Like I've got a record that's been in the can now for 14 months, which is.
Is it this one?
No, not that one.
No, not that one. Oh.
It's Old Friends and New Companions. It's a
scoop, Joe?
Well, it's just a Bakelite radio record, and I was going to put it out this year, and then I thought, well, I've got so much stuff out. I love the record. It feels good. It grooves really nice in that Bakelite radio way. And of course now we've got a record coming out soon, which is the quintessential Black Sorrows record, which is the best of, a double vinyl best of.
And a tour to match.
And a pretty big tour to match.
That would knock out a man off your...
Oh,
Look at that.
There's a few shows there.
Goodness me.
And,
so the retirement, the R word, doesn't exist.
I don't think there's any... I don't know why people want to do that. I can understand if their body or their voice or something that they're finding it's just an impossibility.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough not to have that. I've got a lot of issues, but not necessarily the issues that stop me from singing or playing or wanting to do stuff. I can only speak from, how it works for me, but there's a time to play, there's a time to write, there's a time to fix up the ideas if they come your way. I'm a great believer, if an idea comes your way, you either decide to grab it and start working with it and dealing with it and try to get it to a point where you can park it. And then you tank out, you do something else. It's all about the performance, it's all about the shows. And then there are times when you haven't got an idea, but you can work on the ideas that you had. And I think all these steps make a really big difference. And there are times when I want to learn something, whether it's how to make a chair or how to play this beautiful song, or try to get inside that wonderful songwriter.
I think that's what keeps you young, Joe.
No, it's the moisturiser that keeps me the sweetest.
I also just wanted to briefly touch on, because not only are you a great performer and singer and sax player and guitarist and songwriter and everything, but you also did some producing as well.
I've done a bit of that, yeah. I love doing that. I don't like doing it as much anymore. And what I actually found, and I had a few hits with that, but what I found is that you put so much effort in someone else's work, you run out of stuff for yourself. I'm so selfish.
Just to mention some of the acts that you produce for: Skyhooks, Tim Finn, Icehouse, Mondo Rock, and I remember we talked about the Cold Chisel gig last time. We had to fight Wilbur Wilde for the gig.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I didn't do anything with Tim. I just played on his record.
Yes, right.
But I did something with Ross, and I did a lot of things. I did stuff for Jane Clifton. We had a big hit with The Girl in the Mirror. We had a big hit with that. And I did a lot of songs, produced a lot of my own work. It's kind of fun to a degree, because you really have to direct traffic. You've got to be really good at being diplomatic. Sometimes you can get really frustrated with all that, because you can say to an artist, well, you're going to hit a brick wall, and they can't see it at that particular point of time. And so if it's a hit record, they take the credit. If it's a flop,
it's your fault.
It's my fault. I gave up on that. It was too time consuming for me, so I do my own. Now I'm trying to not even do that. I'm trying to find people that can help me get through, navigate my things, But
I don't know how you found the time. You've got 50 plus albums of your own, and you still had time to assist other artists with theirs.
It's only a chat, really, isn't it? Just a little chat. Go in there and just... In the early days, I remember doing Paul Cully's first hit, I Want to Be Like Billy Baxter. I'd ring it out to within an inch of its life. Really didn't need to do that. What we needed is just the feeling and the joy of being in that song. Yeah. It was a big hit. It was a good hit for him, and it was a good, starting point. And I really enjoyed that process, and the sports and all those things.
Yeah.
But I was young. I was a lot younger.
I should have put my glasses on. I'm too vain. Because I missed Renee Gayer.
Oh, that was a lovely record to make with Renee. It's all about communication. Techniques, we've got a couple of cameras here. They're technical. They know what they're doing. They're just standing there.
Yeah, looking important.
But, once you get it beyond that, it's really what the song's about. You've got to get in the song. It's not about how beautiful the guitar is or how wonderful the singer is.
It's all about the music.
It's all about the passion that comes out of the song that you're trying to do.
We can hear your other band out there.
Sure.
If we want to get on and see the dates, where do we go?
I haven't got the faintest idea where you go.
I'm
the wrong guy.
.com.au.
Yeah, that's where you go. You go to the Black Sorrow side, I guess.
That's right.
It's going to be fun. And what I'm trying to produce, I want to try to produce something that's memorable to people. I've got a fistful of great songs. I've got a lovely band to play with. I've got some extra people I want to have on the shows. I want to and pay homage to the 40 odd years that we've been playing together with Grace. That's why I love coming. I want to be there. If you want to be there, you're already a winner.
Yeah. So get onto the Googleometer and track down when Joe and his guys are coming to your town. And if he wasn't busy enough with a massive tour and another new album, I've lost track now, I can't count. You've joined forces with a boy band. Band.
It's great, I mean, because they're beautiful people and they feel that it's not just about the past, it's about the future. They're going to work collectively on making a record together. I hope I'm going to be involved in that. So. And I think that's where the future lies, There was a time when nobody would play live. It was all about records. But now it's all about playing live.
It's sort of come full circle, hasn't it?
And it's a joy to be with these lads. And we normally do, this is my first tour.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest kid goat on the planet.
So goat being a greatest of all time.
And I've got a goatee. It's wonderful. And sometimes you cross swords with people on stage, but you don't get to know them. And all of a sudden you get to know, and their beauty starts shining. We also have this wonderful respect for each other. So it's lovely.
Great bunch of fellows. I was the #1 ticket holder, first on the computer. I'll see you down there in the front row a bit later. Okay. Now, was there anything else you wanted to touch on, Joe?
No, I'm good. I don't know, I talk a lot.
All right, I've got one more question for you and then I'll let you go. We're called Rider TV, so I have to ask you this question. Do you have anything on your rider that you just have to have, Joe? Or you won't go on?
No, not really.
Pretty easy.
I used to be, it was kind of weird. I'd want to have ginger, I was kind of crazy on ginger tea, and I'd want to have that because it was good. When we were doing, a lot of shows, 250 shows, and so your voice is going to fade here, and the ginger would help. And then I started taking supplements to sort of keep me strong, and I did this gig once These were on the rider, you know, there's certain supplement. I did this gig and I poured it out and I was going to drink it. I went and did the gig and it was incredible. I came up and said, I told you that Fuji stuff was incredible. And they just pointed over to the thing. It's still there, mate.
Yeah, it was the placebo
I gave up on that night. No, it's no. I'm not a.
You're easy to please.
My thing is, I come to play.
Yeah.
I don't come for drinks. I come to play.
Yeah, it's been great that you've spent a few minutes with us chatting. You're definitely one of our Aussie legends, and we're so proud of all your achievements. And there's plenty more to come, isn't it?
Let's
Plenty more
hope so.
where that came from.
I hope so. I hope I've got a little bit left in the tank.
All right, Joe, we better let you go before we get into trouble.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Did we go good?
Did we got enough? I'm sure we have.
Now,
There we go.
You are listening to Still Rocking It, the podcast with Cheryl Lee.
I hope you enjoyed being a fly on the wall during the taping of the Legend series for Rider TV with the legend that is Joe Camilleri. And did we dance all night later to this song that's going to take us out? I can't play you a new song from the quintessential album as yet. So I'm going back to one of my favourites, Harley and Rose. It's released in 1990, the first single from their 6th studio album, Harley and Rose. Peaked at 24 on the ARIA charts, was nominated for ARIA Song of the Year, won Country Song of the Year at the APRA Music Awards.
Like static on the dust, hey, look comes back in style. Holly and Rose, they just lost it for a while. Holly claimed there was no lover.
You're with Cheryl Lee, that radio chick. Thank you so much for joining me on the Still Rocking It podcast. Hope to catch you again next time. Get out when you can, support Aussie music, and I'll see you down the front.